Are we permanently broken?
Political polarization is tearing at the seams of democracies all around the world.
America is tearing apart.
Americans agree on at least one thing. The bad news? They agree on how divided we are.
The growing political polarization in America is hard to ignore. New polling data by the Pew Research Center confirms just how extreme the gap is.
But I'd say this is the most divided we've been since the Civil War.
I would say the thing that scares me the most is the knowledge of the inevitable and not being able to stop it.
Something bad happening to my children.
I think I most fear hurting the people that I love, probably.
I think losing people.
Probably something happening to any of my kids. It's the scariest thing.
Losing a loved one.
Definitely one of my biggest fears would be losing the people most important to me.
Well, I have 4 children, and what scares me the most is something happening to one of them, something bad happening to one of them, or, their health. Any of those things that would harm my children scare me the most.
I'm Claire. Right now I'm a full-time student at Penn State studying health sciences.
My name is Brooke Sturgis. I am 20 years old. I attend Savannah College of Art and Design, otherwise known as SCAD, in Savannah, Georgia.
I'm Peg Ludwig, and I'm actually 104 years old. I was born on May 18th, 1918.
My name is Emma. I grew up in Pittsburgh. I've always been in Pittsburgh.
My name is Jarrell Brackett. I am 34 years old. I was born on May 5th, 1988.
I lived in Pittsburgh for 23 years.
I have been living in Pittsburgh area for pretty much my whole life, about 18 years now.
I've lived in Pittsburgh ever since I got married, which was in 1941.
I've lived in Pittsburgh for my entire life, so 20 years, except 1 year I spent living in Germany abroad with my grandparents.
I've lived in Pittsburgh for 19 years. I moved here when I was just under 1.
I have been here for like 6 years. Yeah.
Since in Pittsburgh since 1972.
I think the one thing that I really love about Pittsburgh is how much the people love the city, if that makes sense. Like, people here love Pittsburgh, and it's such a community, and I feel like every time you meet someone, they know someone that you know, and that's really cool. And I love the city. I love the entire atmosphere of Pittsburgh and like what we represent and the history of it. It's great.
I like that it's got a small town feel with most of the big city advantages, but not a lot of the disadvantages come with living in a place like New York or Chicago.
I like the people, and then the weather here is also really nice. Yeah.
I like that there's a lot to do in the city, like the sports teams. I like that. I like that we can go into the city and it's not too big, and it's we can always find something to do. But then we have the suburbs where we're outside of all the noise and the crowd.
Yeah, I love how much everyone loves the city. I think that's such a really special part of Pittsburgh, and just the fact that it's a place where people are kind, and I don't know, everyone's just so passionate about the city. I love that.
Pittsburgh has always been home to me, and I don't think it's necessarily where I've lived. I think it's more of the people that I've met here.
I don't know, the people are like so caring, the people are like really generous, the people like would help you out if you ever need anything. Yeah.
Okay, what's the hardest thing or one of the hardest things you've ever went through?
Obviously everyone had a hard time with COVID, but at that time I lost a lot of my friends as my school closed, so I had to I didn't lose them by like relationships being broken, but I kind of was taken away from that, as well as with COVID, that also affected it. I was in a new school, my grandma had cancer, and she actually passed away all at the same time when I was trying to find that self-acceptance.
Probably when my grandpa passed away, because it was just the first like true experience of grief that I've ever had in my life, and I don't know, I just kind of felt like changed. Like I feel like now when I view my life, it's kind of like before that happened and after that happened.
In 2021, I went into sudden cardiac failure, and 2 weeks later, I was in the OR getting my transplant. During my transplant, my kidney failed, or both my kidneys, and I was put on dialysis for 8 months. And then that following February, in 2022, I received my kidney transplant, and that whole year was hard. It was hard mentally and physically, because the day that I went into heart failure, I was completely fine. You know, I was at the gym and I was great. Everything was good. And trying to process kind of what's happening to you and why was a lot. And being away from my friends for a year and just constantly being at the hospital was scary, and it taught me a lot, but it was hard. So I would definitely classify that as the worst thing.
Well, I had an aunt who was drowned in the Johnstown flood of 1936. And this was a trauma for our whole family.
Losing my father, losing my sister.
When our dog Gizmo died, it was terrible.
I think when my husband had a bypass surgery, that was the kids were young. At that time, they were not married. Our son was in medical school. The girls were still in like freshmen in college and things like that. I mean, just that was the hardest part of my life at that time.
How do you cope with that? Is there something that helps, or?
I think I cope using my family members for sure. I think the thing that's been most helpful is just surrounding myself with people that are going through the same thing and have those like similar feelings, and like you can just remember things and like talk about, you know, your favorite memories about that person. And yeah, I just think it's really helpful to have people around you.
We talked it out, all us kids.
Did that help?
And that did help us.
By prayers, and I think with the help of the kids, especially our son, he was in medical school, and that was a big help. And all the kids were like just together. All of us were just together at that time, and that helped a lot.
We coped, right? So as a family, we would talk about them and remember stories and cry. It was really hard. Yeah.
I would say the one thing that I learned from that year is how important the little things are and how big little things can actually be. I remember when I got discharged in August, I came home and I was sitting outside with my family that night, and we were just sitting by the fire, listening to music and talking, and I remember just crying for the first time, not out of, sadness or pain, but because this is what I had prayed for, for those months that I was in there. Like, I just prayed to be home and to be with the people that I loved and finally just feel some sort of peace. And that was a huge moment for me, but it was so simple. There wasn't anything huge happening, and I've learned that little things turn into big things. And the more you collect little moments with people, they turn into big relationships with them. And I think that's really awesome. So I would definitely say learning to find those little moments in life and stop waiting around for the big things.
How often would you say you feel lonely?
Not now, right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel lonely now.
I guess not that often, cause I was busy doing schoolwork.
Not very often. I've got, a really good relationship with my wife and kids, so.
I think not as much as I used to. Every once in a while, probably.
I don't feel too lonely anymore very often, once in a while. More so when I was younger, pretty often, but I feel like I have a good social support and a family support now, so not too often anymore.
I feel lonely a lot. I think I used to feel more lonely than I do now. Like, in the past couple years, I felt more lonely, but pretty often.
As someone who is a big people person, it's really hard for me to be alone. So I usually get pretty lonely at night.
See, I was shy when I was a child, and I was very introvert, and I was always worried about what other people were thinking. So I felt like nobody else felt that way, and it was just me feeling that way. So even though I had a twin sister, you would think I would never be lonely, but we were so different, so that I felt like I needed to be like her, but I wasn't like her because our personalities were so different. She was much more outgoing, and I was much more, very, very shy as a child, and so I felt way more lonely then. But I think that was just my perception of things. I wasn't truly lonely, it was just how I felt,
I think I've learned how to be alone more, and that's helped me a lot. So because it's different, being alone versus being lonely are different things. And so I think I've just gotten more comfortable with just being by myself.
There is a spoken word piece called How to Be Alone by Andrea Dorfman. And before I watched it, I used to just long for the idea of being open and having company and having people close to me and near me and stuff like that. And then after I watched How to Be Alone, I started realizing, oh my God, I can just be alone and it's fine.
I had to really force myself to be okay with staying in and watching a movie with myself. And I had to tell myself over and over and over, this is okay, you don't have to be with people. And I think the one thing that really ruined that was social media, because people are constantly posting with people and you see it every single day, someone is with someone doing something. and you feel like you have to constantly be with someone doing something every day, and it really gets to you. And I think that I force myself some days to shut off my social media, to enjoy a movie, to enjoy my favorite ice cream by myself and listen to my favorite music. And I think the one thing that has really helped is finding things that I love and just doing a lot of self-care and really forcing myself to be like, this is okay. And then it got a lot better. So yeah.
I've always been comfortable with being alone, but not feeling lonely. You know, I've just always felt that way. But I also have always had an abundance of friends, so I just don't feel that really.
I think I've changed the way I look at being alone. I think I used to think every time I was alone I was lonely, and I don't think I think of it like that anymore.
What would you say motivates you each day?
When I think of the big picture, it kind of stresses me out. So I try to take it day by day, but occasionally I will think of my end goal. I do want to go into healthcare, so I think of all the people that this might sound self-centered, but all the people that I am going to help and that I want to help. And I think of that, and I just feel like the hard work will be worth it. I realize and think that the stress I'm going through and the studying and the late nights and all that will be worth it in the end.
Motivates me each day. Good weather, no, I'm just kidding. Good weather in Pittsburgh is not that there all the time.
I don't know, I'm going to college now, so I think like studying and then like making new friends, like learning like what I like to do, like learning about myself, which like I really like that. Yeah.
I was very academically driven when I was younger, so that drove me, like to do well in school, like to be the best that I could be, like, so that drove me in school, was to do well in school. Now it's to my children, like doing everything I can to help them would motivate me.
Other people. I think seeing the like awesome things other people do motivates me to want to be better and do better.
Probably just creating and furthering a good, stable family life is what motivates me.
What motivates me each day is to continue to be a better person for not only myself and my family now, but for my future family, my future friends in life, that I can continue to be the best person that I can be and continue to be the most successful person that I can be so that I can provide them with what I have.
I would say what motivates me is the people who have gone through what I have gone through and didn't get the same outcome that I had. I was very lucky. I know that I was very lucky, and I am forever grateful for how lucky that I was. I had a 0.0000001% chance of survival on June 15th, the day that I went into heart failure. And I know that there are so many people that don't make it through what I did. And I think what motivates me is to live for the people who didn't get that chance, especially the man whose heart I now hold. He didn't get a chance to fight. He was young. He was in his 20s. And I don't know what happened to him, but he didn't get a fair chance at life. And now I get to carry that organ, and I think it motivates me to live for him and to live in honor of him and his family, and fight to have a good life, you know? So I would definitely say that's what motivates me.
my purpose is to just survive, honestly. Like I don't think I really believe that I have like a big purpose to like that I need to accomplish before I go. And I feel like my goal of life is to just get through and, you know, hopefully spread some kindness and happiness and stuff, but just live.
If I had to say a purpose of my life, it would be to make those around me and even those who I don't know happier and more successful.
Yeah, I do think life has a purpose, and I think it's to brighten the lives of others and, you know, to be there for other people. I think of, you know, the past losses that we've had, and it's easy to think life doesn't have a purpose when they end. And is it worth loving someone if you have to go through that? But I think it is. I think having the effect that those people have had on me is huge, and I hope I have the same effect on other people.
My purpose in my life is to stay healthy, to make sure my husband stays healthy, and we are happy. That's the main purpose of my life right now, and spend as much time with the kids and grandkids, and also see them flourish. That's what I want to see.
Well, I think what gives life meaning is our relationship with people. I just believe that. I think we are all connected, and I think we all give meaning to each other, whether we see it or not. And I treasure the relationships I have.
I guess like just, I don't know, like at the end of the day, I just want to be like a really good person to help like whoever needs help, and then just like be happy, I guess, and then like treat other people nicely. Yeah, that's all I really want. And then I guess have a job, like a stable job.
Is there advice that you would give your younger self?
Slow down, don't chase too much, and look inward rather than outward for fulfillment.
Have fun and stop worrying about if they're talking about you or if they like your outfit or if you're gonna get invited. It doesn't matter. You know, the people who have something to say don't matter. There's some Dr. Seuss quote about it, but you just have fun, do what you want, and just be your own company.
I would tell myself to trust yourself a little bit more. Don't be so worried about what other people think or have to say.
Be a useful person. Add value to yourself. Do not worry about being around other people. I hope that you spend your life being a better person, being yourself at all costs.
I feel like one thing is definitely like you're enough. Like don't like let other people tell you otherwise. Like people freak out. Sorry, like people will like try to like tear you down. Like just be yourself always. I like that.
I can't give advice to anybody, I don't think. You just have to work hard and try to get along with people. That's the main thing. Love your neighbor.